This hearing will come to order. We'll ask all the members to take their seats. I have been focused on Afghanistan since before 9/11, warning of an emerging terrorist sanctuary there in that part of the world. Today, the committee recognizes the tremendous sacrifices made by our troops, made by their families, so that America is safe from the type of attack that Osama bin Laden launched from Afghanistan. Next year, the Administration plans to transition from combat operations to an advise and assist role in Afghanistan, and we need a workable and realistic transition plan in place. Last month, a bipartisan committee delegation led by Representative Adam Kinzinger and joined by Representatives Scott Perry and Juan Vargas traveled to Afghanistan and traveled to Pakistan, and these members collected information useful to this committee, so I thank them for their important oversight work. And I also want to recognize the committee's military advisor, Colonel Andrea Thompson, who has served tours in Afghanistan and who organized the trip. I am concerned that the Administration has not adequately defined a mission in Afghanistan. U.S. troop strength will drop to 34,000 in 2 months, and pending a bilateral security agreement, these numbers will drop much lower. The remaining troops will have a limited role, as they should. But what will be our objective? What constitutes success? Insufficient planning for this transition could put American lives at risk. At present, it is questionable whether our diplomatic facilities are sufficiently equipped, physically and staffing-wise, to protect U.S. personnel. This danger will only increase as more troops withdraw, and transition planners better best figure out how to protect our personnel during this transition. Unfortunately, endemic corruption in Afghanistan places our aid programs there at constant risk of waste, of fraud, of abuse, and despite years of rule of law training, the Afghan government has few workable safeguards in place to prevent the misuse of U.S. aid money. Widespread corruption in Afghanistan also threatens the presidential and the provincial elections that are set for next April. Free and fair elections are essential, of course, to establishing a stable Afghan government capable of preventing Taliban-induced chaos. A repeat of the widespread election fraud that we saw in 2009 would almost certainly undermine Afghans' faith in their government, dangerously setting back the country. Corruption hinders Afghanistan's economy. The country's mining sector could tap deposits of critical industrial metals by attracting more foreign investment, but that won't happen with its off-the-charts corruption in Afghanistan. On the security front, Pakistan's military and security service continue to complicate matters by supporting the Taliban. Pakistan is a double dealer, paying lip service to cooperation with the United States, unfortunately, while simultaneously undermining our primary objective of bringing Afghanistan under the control of a democratically elected government. Lastly, Iran continues to support the Taliban while utilizing Afghanistan's banking system to circumvent U.S. and international sanctions. Iran will intensify its meddling during the transition at our expense, and just yesterday it was announced that President Karzai had agreed to a long-term friendship and cooperation pact with Iran. We need to counter this because, as you know, our troops continue to be targeted. Afghans will determine their future, of course, not us. What we can do is help them develop a stable and reasonably democratic government, one respectful of universally recognized human rights. That's what most Afghans want. It's in our interests, and it's what our sacrifices demand we strive for. I will now turn to Mr. Ted Deutsch for any opening statement he might want to make.